Hi everybody, so pleased you could meet me today. So we're going to go over our first live session, which is on place value. So hopefully you found the videos and the quizzes already, and we're really just going to go through how we can put all of this into practice. And yeah, hopefully you'll enjoy it. And at the very end, I'll go through the platform and you know what you can expect each week. So let's make a start. Okay, okay, there we go. Oops. Okay, let's start at the very beginning. So we're going to look over those main points. So it's the place value, adding and subtracting numbers, again, looking at their place values. We're doing to go through multiplying and dividing, and also order of operations. So let's make a start with that. So first things first, we're going to go look at place value itself. So in sort of short, place value is looking at where a digit sits in a number, its position, and therefore we can look at its value. Okay, so we've got numbers that sit in the same position, but one number is a larger number, then it has a higher place value. Okay, we do need to be able to spell our numbers, and we also need to be able to spell things like hundreds, thousands, and tenths, hundredths, thousandths, etc. So do practice those if spelling is an issue for you. So here's our first example. We've got 7,854. Now, sometimes in an exam, you might be asked to give the place value of any one of those numbers. So let's have a look at the breakdown of those. So we've got the digit 7, the first one you can see on the left-hand side there. That's in the position of 1,000. Okay, so from the left-hand side, we go units, then we go tens, then we go hundreds, then we go thousands. So the 7 is, the fourth one is thousands. 8 is in the hundreds place, so it's worth 800. 5 is in the tens place, so this is 5, tens is 50. And then the one in the units or the ones place is the 4, so that's just worth a little 4. Let's have a look at what happens when we get the decimals in as well. Of course, the numbers before the decimal play ball as we had seen before. So the 2 is in the tens place, therefore it's going to be worth 20. The 3 is in the units or ones place, so it's worth 3. After the decimal place, though, it goes tenths. Okay, so we want a THS on the end. So this one is worth 0.6. And then we're going to go to hundredths. So the 7 is 0.07. And then the 5 is in the position of the thousandths. So we're 3 places after the decimal place now. So we get 0.005. Okay, hopefully that makes sense. So here's a multiple choice question for you. I'm going to give you 10 seconds to decide what you think the answer is. Okay, so the 5 is in the position of the, mark that, sorry. 5 is in a position here, okay? So we've got tenths, then hundredths. So the correct answer was D. So well done if you got that one right. Okay, we're now going to look at another thing that's quite often asked of you, and that is to order integers and decimals. Now, if you see the word integers, that just means whole number, okay? So we want no decimals as part of that. So whole number and then decimals themselves, okay? So we have to think not just about the position of those numbers, but also whether or not the number is overall positive or negative as well, because that will give you a position for the ordering of integers. Negative numbers are smaller than positive numbers. So let's have a look at some examples. So here we go. We've got 5 numbers on the board, and we want to look for the, we're going from the smallest to the largest. Okay, other ways of describing that is I might ask you to put that in ascending order. Okay, smallest to largest. If we're going the other way, largest to smallest, then we call that descending order. Okay, so there's different ways they might ask for it, but essentially just know what each of those words. Ascending means going to go from small to big, descending from big to small. So our smallest number here is actually what looks to be the biggest technically number. It's a negative 10. Okay, so that's the most, the smallest number that's in that list. Then we've got the other negative, which is -5. And then 0 is larger than -5, but it's smaller than the next one, which is 3. And of course, 7 there is the largest number in this example. When it comes to ordering decimals, some students prefer to put in some extra zeros so that they're looking at equivalent size numbers, okay? So I'm going to show you what I mean by that. Okay, so for instance, 0.3, you want to make it the same length as the 4, sorry, I said 0.3, no, 4.3. 4.321, if you put in a couple of zeros after the 3, then you can make it an equivalent size, and then it's a bit easier to compare. So we've got, we can do that with the 4.3, so it becomes 4.300, and then we can do it also with the 4.32 to add the extra one. Again, just so we've got the same number of decimal places, because the 4.3 part is the same throughout all of these. So we're looking at the next digit along after the 3, and then if necessary, the next digit after that. So 0.30 is going to be smaller than 0.32 or as the other two. And then 0.300 is smaller than 0.301. Okay, so notice at the bottom that when it's in the correct order, I've used the original state that that number was in. Okay, so it was written originally as 4.3. I've written it back in as 4.3. But to figure it out, it's okay to put in the zeros if that helps you. Then we've got the 4.301. And then we're going to have, again, 4.32 is going to be smaller than 4.301. Okay, so just remember if you need to put those numbers in. So another multiple choice question. I'm going to give you another 10 seconds to see if you can work the answers out on this. Okay, so it's descending order, which means we're going to start with the largest number and go down. So some of these are in ascending order, possibly, or close to, and some are not. So descending order, we're looking for the largest number. I mean, that's the clue, really. And that's this one, 12.34. Therefore, there's only one possible answer, but just always double check just in case. But it would be the 4.34. If you want to do, well done. Then we're going down to the 12, and then we're going to carry on down. And of course, with the negatives, negative 1.23 is larger than negative 1.24. Okay, those are the ones that are quite difficult to because when we go negative, technically the sort of the opposite of true. Okay, so let's move on. Okay, next part is we're going to look over the adding and subtracting. Again, we've got to pay attention not just to the place values themselves, but also whether or not a number is positive and negative. So let's have a look at our examples. Okay, so when adding and subtracting integers, okay, if you've got two positive numbers and you're adding them together, then you're going to end up with a positive sum, okay? If you're adding two negative numbers together, so let's say -7 added to -3, then you're going to end up with an even more negative sum, so -10 in that example. If you're subtracting a negative, it's the same thing as adding, okay? So if I'm taking away, so if we've got 5, take away -2, okay, that's the same as me saying 5 add 2. So getting used to the sums and the way they're written, two negatives will mean an addition, okay? So here we go, we've got adding 5, and just to explain, you might find that negatives are in brackets, sometimes they're not, it's just there's different formats that they might be seen in. This is really 5 add -8, which is really just saying 5 take away 8, and therefore it would be -3, okay? This example, we've got -12, take away 5. So we're going to be going even more negative. So 12 and 5 is 17. So we can sort of add them up as if they're positives, but remember these are going to be negatives. So -17. Here's one with decimals. Okay, so we're going to add these two. So we've got 12.45 and 3.678. Again, if needed, then we can, in fact, let's use that as an example, shall we? Let's do this sum. So if needed, oops, 3.678. If needed, you can always put in a 0 so that you've got the same place values before you add. So for instance, 8 and 0 here will give you the 8. 7 and 5 give you 12, so carry the 1. 6 and 4 is 10, add that extra 1 is 11. Don't forget to put in your decimal place, carry that 1 forward. 3 and 2 make 5, add that extra 1 is a 6, and then we've got 1. And again, if you need to, you can put a 0 there, but probably not necessary. So we end up with 16.128. So let's just put the next screen on so we can see. Okay, so there you go. So again, thinking about your place value, when you're adding, try and keep everything in the column. So units above units, tenths above tenths, etc. Okay, and then we shouldn't have too much trouble. Subtracting decimals. Let's do let's do this so that we can go through the example. That's fine. So what have we got? We've got 45.32. And we're subtracting 27.654. Okay, now again, if it helps, put in the extra 0 so you've got an equivalent value and everything's lined up. So I can't take 4 away from 0, so I'm going to borrow from the next number to the left. So that will become a 1, and then I can take 4 away from 10 nice and easily. I've got 6. I can't take 5 away from 1, so I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to borrow, that 3 will become a 2. Put this across, I've got 11, take away 5, which is another 6. Then I've got to take 6 from 2 again. I'm in the same position, I cannot do that. So I'm going to turn that 5 into a 4, pass 1 along to the right. 6 away from 12 is another 6. Apparently I like 6s on this one. 7 away from 4, also in the same position. So let's make that 4 a 3, pass along. 7 from 14 is a 7. And then we're going to take 2 from 3, and that will give me 1. So we've got 17.666. And that is just a quick reminder on how to subtract our numbers as well. There you go, there it is. Again, notice that everything is in a line, pence above pence, units above units, etc. Right, multiple choice question number 3. Have a go, please. Okay, so the word difference, that means subtract. Okay, so when we're looking for a difference, we mean to find the difference between one and the other is you take away the second from the first. So in this case, the answer we're looking for is actually A, the first one you can see on the screen there. All right, let's have a look at multiplying and dividing. So when we're multiplying and dividing, again, integers meaning whole numbers, we're going to make sure that we have this in the back of our mind. If we're multiplying 2 positive numbers, the outcome will be positive. If we are multiplying 2 negative numbers, the outcome will be positive. Okay, so the same signs, your answer will be positive. However, if you've got 2 different signs, so positive and negative, either way round, your answer will be negative. Okay, so always have that in the back of your mind whenever you're dealing with these sorts of questions. So let's have a look. Multiplying our integers then. So we've got negative 6 times by 4. 6 times 4 is 24. Okay, then you look at the signs. I've got 1 negative, 1 positive. My answer must be negative. So negative 24. Then we've got multiplying decimals. So we've got 3.4 times by 2.5. So again, let's think about how we can do this. And actually, if I go back a minute, I'm going to show you how I would have worked this out. So Let's go with turning each number. Oops. Oh, that's very weird. Hang on. Let me try that again. Okay. So I'm going to turn 3.4 into 34. And then 2.5 into 25. That's better. Okay. So I'm going to do 4 times by, so we're going to multiply each of the top numbers by the one below. So we've got 4 times by 5 is 20. I'm going to carry that 2 across. And then I'm going to do 3 times by 5 is 15. Add that 2, and I get struggling board, apparently. Oh, it's having a funny 5 minutes. Okay, 17. Okay, apologies. The software is just playing up for me a little bit. Just trying to get rid of that 2 so that it didn't get confusing. Okay, let's try again. Now we're going to do the next number, which is the 2. Okay, but remember, it's not really a 2, it's a 20. So start off by putting in a 0 to represent the factors in the tens column in the next row down. So then we're going to do 2 times by 4 is 8. And then we're going to do 3 times by 6. Sorry, 3 times by 2 is 6. I can speak. And then we're going to add up our results. So we've got 0 and 0. 7 and 8 is going to be 15. Carry a 1 across. Then we've got 1, 6, and another 1 there to make 8. Okay, so I've got 850. But what I've really got is 1, 2 decimal numbers in total. So when I multiply them, there's 2 decimal numbers. So I need 2 decimal numbers in my answer. So I'm going to take, go from the end of my answer, and I'm going to go across to the left 2 places, and then I'm going to put in a decimal place. So it's 8.5 as a final answer. Okay, let me just get rid of my annotations and move on. Okay, so that's where that answer came from. So if you make them whole numbers, you can multiply them. It just makes life easier. Okay, dividing integers. Let's do this one. Simple sort of bus stop method. So we're going to do, oh, actually 56, this is an easy one. So 56 divided by 8. Hopefully you all know that that's going to end up with a negative answer. And of course, it's going to be -7. And then, because it was a positive and negative, so I didn't explain that, did I? So positive and negative, -7. We'll do this one with the bus stop method. Okay, right. So when you're faced with a question like this, what we want to do is make wherever the divisor is, so in this case we're dividing everything by 3, I want to make that a whole number. Okay, so to do that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to multiply this by 10. Okay, but I'm multiplying that by 10, so I have to multiply this one by 10 too. Okay, and then I can carry out the normal division. So 0.3 times 10 is 3. There's my bus stop. And 10 times 12.6 is 126. Okay, because they're both being increased by the same scale, the answer will be equivalent. So 3 into 1 I can't do, but 3 into 12 goes 4 times. There's no remainder, and then we've got 3 into 6 goes twice. So the answer here would be 42. Okay, moving the decimal place right. Move the decimal place. Oh yeah, sorry, that's me explaining how to go up by 10. Okay, because we wanted a whole number. Really, we wanted just to divide it by 3. Okay, a multiple choice question. 10 seconds. Okay, hopefully you could see that the answer was C here. So well done if you've got that one correct. Okay, let's have a look now at the next section, which is order of operations. Okay, so with the order of operations, let me just go to that line. I'm using the word BODMAS, okay, but you might see BIDMAS, where I is representing the power and roots. It means indices. Indices, index number or indice is a common term used for the same thing. But notice the order is also referring to square roots, cube roots, things like that as well, okay? So don't ignore those. Don't think, oh, well, this is not a power number, therefore I don't have to deal with it. So first thing you're going to do when you look at a sum is to see if there's anything in brackets. Work that part out first. Then also you're looking for anything that's to the power of or a square root. That's your order or indices. Then division and multiplication, they're interchangeable. What you want to do is you look from the left-hand side of your sum to the right, and the first one you come across is the first one you do. And then the same thing with addition and subtraction, they are interchangeable as well. So again, left to right in your sum, you do those in the order that you come across them. Okay, so that's the little bit that some people get confused with. So D and M interchangeable, A and S interchangeable. Okay, so let's have a look at some examples. Okay, we've got 6 plus 2 times 3. So in our heads, we might just jump to the fact that 6 plus 2 is 8 times 3 is 24. But sadly, that wouldn't get us the right answer. Okay, with BODMAS, we need to do the multiplication before we do the addition. So this is so that we always end up with the right answer. We have to do the 3 times 2 first, which is 6. Then because that's a 6, we can just add it to the other 6 to get 12. Okay, that's how it works. Excuse me. Let's have a look at another example. We've got 4 plus 5 inside our bracket, so we have to deal with that first. That makes 9, and then we can multiply it by 2, and that will give us 18. Okay, so brackets first. Let's have a look at one where we've also got an index number, a power number. So if you haven't come across these yet, so the power of 3 just means you multiply it by itself by 3. So we're going to do 2 times 2 times 2. So 2 times 2 is 4, times 2 again is 8. Okay, 8 added to 3 will give us 11. Okay, this one is a little bit more complicated now. We've got multiple things going on. Work out your bracket first. So we've got 7 take away 3. Sorry, 10 take away 3 is 7. Tendency there to just jump ahead and give the answer. Then we need to do the next thing according to BODMAS, which is the multiply, because it's before the division sign. So multiply 4 and 7 to get 28. And then we're going to do the division. So we're going to take 6 and divide it by 2 to get 3. And now we've got the 2 parts, so we can go our 28 and add it to 3, and together we get 31. So you can see there's lots of combinations. If we did these in different orders, we might end up with completely different answers. Okay, here is some for you to try. Now I'm going to give you a whole minute now for you to have a go at these questions. Okay. I know a minute is not long to try and get 8 questions completed. Don't worry about it. If you want to come back and have a go at some others later on, then that's absolutely fine. Please do. It's just there to have practice. Obviously, if you are faced with these sorts of things in the future, choose the ones that you think are ones that are at your level and then try and move up. So you don't have to start with question 1, which is the easiest one. You can start at, say, question 6 if you think that that's where you are at, and then move on up. Okay, so let's just display those answers and then we'll move on. Okay. So we have now had a look at all of the different sections. We have got some practice questions that you are going to go through. Okay. I'm going to switch screens now so that I can do some workings. Okay, now we're going to go through the past paper questions. So we've got 2 sets of these. So we're going to start off with this one here. Right, the first thing it's asking us to do is to write out a number in words. And as I said to you, knowing the spellings is really important. But also being able to read the number in its first place is also going to be helpful. So this is 5,000. Okay, think about your place value. 250. So make sure that we can write out the whole of those answers. Then we want to do, this is actually asking me to write something to the nearest thousand. So that's making sure I understand my place value. So the number that's in the place of 1,000 at the moment is that 3. And I have to decide, do I round it up or do I keep it as it is? It's followed by 2, so I'm going to keep it as it is. So it's going to be 23,000 in total. Let's make my pen a little bit thicker. Okay, write down the value of 3 in this number here. So the 3 is that third one from the end. That's in the 100th position, so its value is 300. Write the 6,374 in figures. So 6 in the thousands position, 3 in the hundreds position, 7 in the tens position, and 4 in the units or ones position. Okay. All right. Yeah, this makes sense. Okay, so Fiona's got 4 cards. Each card has got a number written on it. Fiona puts all 4 cards on the table to make her number. Or make her number, sorry. Write down the numbers on the cards to show the smallest number Fiona can make. Okay, we want to make the smallest number. We want to start with the smallest number, and that's the 1. Okay, then we want to go to the next smallest, which is the 4, followed by the next smallest, which is the 5, and then finally the largest one goes at the end. And then we want to make the largest number. So we're just going to go in the opposite direction. We start with the largest number and then go in descending order. And that's the largest number we can possibly make. Right. Then we've got Fiona uses 2 of the cards to make a true statement. Write down the numbers in the cards to make the statement true. Use each of Fiona's cards only once. Okay. So, for instance, if I did 4 add 9, then I would end up with 13, which is not the numbers I've got on the other side. However, if I did 5 add 9, I end up with 14. And that's all of the numbers that Fiona's got in only used once. So just have a little think, what combinations could we get? A 5th card is needed to show the result of the multiplication of 4,915 times 10. What number does she need on the 5th card? Well, if you times something by 10, you're essentially adding a 0 to the end of it. So we're missing a 0. Okay, nice, easy questions, quite logical, but sometimes if we haven't come across things like this before, then it might be hard to answer. Okay, let's have a look at the next set of questions. Right, write these numbers in order of size. Okay, So order of size, we've done some things like this today. So we want to have a look at the first number after this decimal place and see if we've got a small number. We do. Okay, so this one here is the smallest, 0.067. Then the next smallest number after the decimal place is this one, 0.56. Now all the other three have got a 6 following it. So remember that 0.6 is really the same as 0.600 or except whatever we need. And that's going to be smaller than either of the other two. So I've done that one now. And then the last two, the 0.605 is going to be smaller than the 0.65, which is also there. Make sure all of them are written down. If necessary, count them up, but just check that everything is covered. Okay, so second one is going to follow the same thing. So we want to start with the smallest number and work our way up. So smallest number here we've got here is -10, then -6, then -4, and then we're getting to the positive numbers. So 2 is smaller than 5. Again, just double check, count, you've got every number included in there. Okay, now this next one is, you can use it, I think this came from a calculator paper, so you could use it, but we'll do the multiplication with this. So we've got, Nick takes 26 boxes out of his van. The weight of each box is 32.9 kilos of the 26 boxes. Okay, let's have a look at this. So we have got 26, and then right, so I'm going to make this 329 times by 26. Okay, so now I'm going to carry out the multiplication. So 9 times by 6 is going to be 54. 2 times 6 is 12, plus that 5 is 17, carry 1 across. 6 plus 3 times 6 is 18, add that 1 is 19. Just get rid of those little numbers so they don't get in my way. Okay, then I'm going to do 9 times by 2, but remember it's not 2, it's a 20, so put the 0 in first. So that gives me 18, carry the 1. 2 times by 2 is 4, add that 1 is 5, and then 3 times 2 is 6, and then I should be able to add everything up. So we've got 4, we've got 15, add 1, so another 15, so carry the 1, 7 plus 1 is 8, so we get 8, 5, 5, 4. But don't forget, I started off with 1 decimal place, so I must put in a decimal place here as well. So my final answer on my paper should be 855.4. Okay, with this next one, it's worth 4 marks. I had a quick look at it a second ago, and then thought perhaps you just use your calculator, but in fact you don't. Right, when you are dividing large numbers, it's usually helpful to do a sort of a list of the figures that you've got. So I'm basically seeing how many times 69 can fit into 990. Okay, so I'm just going to make a list now. I'm just going to do 69, and I'm going to add another 69. And then I'm going to add another 69, add another 69, add another 69, and I just keep on going. That's 5 of them. That's an easy way of counting it. Should I do them in lists of 5? 3. 1, 4, 6, 90. Oh, of course, I could have done that anyway. So if I thought to myself for ease that 10 lots is 690, I could have just gone from there. That hindsight is a blessing, isn't it? So yeah, if you come in that situation, you can see that actually you've got more than 10, you can start at 10, know that you've got 10 already, and then go on from there. I suppose 8, 2, 8, 8, 9, so getting close. 9, 6, 6, that must be my last one. Let me just double check. Yeah, next one would be 1035. So, okay, so what have we got? We've got 5, 5, and then 4. So there is 14 times that 69 will go into 990. Okay, so that's a lot of work, a lot of adding, but still, we'll show you that we've got the division of 990 by 69. So yeah, well done if you worked that out. The final answer was 14. Okay, I'm going to show you the platform now so that you can sort of see what you'll have access to each week. Okay, so welcome back to the website. For anybody who is just watching the video from the session and wants to know what we're offering, we're offering 40 minutes, or at least 40 minutes I should say, of video lesson content, plus the 40 minutes of live session each week where we'll go through some examples of past paper questions, as you can see, and then just go through those main concepts. If you haven't yet signed up, so we've got some free content. We've got some free content. You can see what we're covering each week here. So here's our plan for this first year, and we will be not overwhelming the students, so each week there will be a topic, okay, and that topic is to try and keep them focused and not trying to do too much at one time, but just to really understand a concept at a time. So this first one, as you saw from the lesson, is structure and calculation. Once you've signed up for the website, week 1 and 2 is totally free. You can request a free trial if we're further down the line, and that's absolutely fine, so just please click this. So each of the exercises, you can see the menu along the side on the left, but each of the exercises comes with, for instance, a video, so please play through the videos, and then also then a quiz for you to take on each video section, and then each of the sections ends up with a practice, again just testing all of those new concepts for you, and then of course you'll get your live lesson link. So once you've signed up and are hoping to attend those lessons, then we will send you the password key. So yeah, you just need to sign up to access those, and each week we will be releasing the next set of videos either the Wednesday or the Thursday, and then the lessons themselves. I've originally had this first one at 3:30, but I've had some contacts, so we will probably be making those about 3:45, and they'll be around 40 minutes of live sessions. Okay, I hope that you enjoyed the lesson today, and that I will see you again soon. Bye.